Okay, I think the recording has started. So welcome to our all vendor conference. My name is Chris Sander and I'm the contract unit supervisor for La Crosse County Human Services. And what we do at these meetings, if you're new, we usually go around and do introductions, and we'll start with internal staff, and then I will be calling out the vendors that RSVP'd in alphabetical order. If we get to the end and we still have some people on that we didn't call out and you would like to introduce yourself, that would be great. If you have any events or announcements to make for your agency as you introduce yourself, that would be great. And if you're new here, feel free to tell us the name of your agency and what services you provide, because it's always good to for all the vendors to know what other vendors are providing services. So again, my name is Chris Sander, and I'm the contract unit supervisor for La Crosse County Human Services. And I'm going to start with the contract unit, so you can put a face to a name if you haven't seen us before.
I guess I can start. I'm Paul Menninger. I'm a contract specialist. Most of you hear from me in the fall around budget time, but occasionally you'll hear from me throughout the year. So, welcome.
I'm Tiffany Cornell, and I'm also a contract specialist. I'm newer, but I have spoke with some of you. Still kind of learning the ropes, but so you may hear more from me in the future.
Hi, I'm Cindy Werschke. I am the contract unit clerk. I'm the one that sends you the contract document to sign and you send it back to me. So I'm the one connected with that. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, maybe we can start with the ISRS supervisors.
I can start. I'm Shelly Tollefson, one of the CLTS supervisors.
I'll jump in.
Sorry, Ryan.
I'm Ryan Ross. I'm one of the CCS program supervisors.
Good morning. I'm Ellen Daubert. I am a supervisor that works in both the CLTS and the CCS program.
And I'm Sarah Mooreshelter. I'm CCS supervisor.
Hi there, I'm Christy Harold. I'm the quality assurance supervisor.
Also saw Alicia on from Monroe County. You can introduce yourself too.
Hi, Alicia Braun. I'm the mental health clinic manager at Monroe County. I supervise the CCS program.
Any other internal staff? I know we have a few on here.
Or Rick. I know we have some Rick County partners too.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
I can jump in. I'm Annalise Trinka. I'm a program specialist, so do supportive work behind the scenes for Waiver and CCS.
They're Rick partners that would like to introduce themselves.
Not beyond yet.
Okay. How about Tanya? She's new here, but internal.
I was just waiting. My name is Tanya Van Tull, and I'm the manager of Justice Support Services.
All right, so I'm just going to start with the vendors. And again, I'm going to go alphabetically by vendors that RSVP'd, and I did see a few more jump on, so I'm going to try and go through. If we get to the end and you have not introduced yourself, I'll open it up at the end for that. So Adams and Associates. I haven't seen her yet, so we'll just move on. Alcohol monitoring systems.
Good morning, everybody. It's Matt Fowler from alcohol monitoring systems, or that are known as SCRAM systems as well. We provide electronic monitoring and alcohol monitoring for La Crosse County there.
Aptiv?
Good morning. My name is Lisa Duncanson. I'm one of our directors here at Aptiv. The services that we provide are primarily daily living skills for the CLTS program for youth. We also new this year have started a healthy relationships and sexuality course and some diving into the world of assistive technology and able to provide that service as well. I think Kaya's on here as well.
Yes, I'm Kaya Gross and I'm the Youth Services Manager with Aptiv.
Attic.
Hi, Mark Wakefield with Attic Correctional Services. We work mostly with outreach housing.
Hi, I'm Carla Campion and I'm the supervisor for Attic.
Aurora.
Hi, I'm Dina Black. I am with Aurora Community Services, and we provide primarily CCS services, mostly in Jackson County at the moment.
Brave Spaces.
Hey, I'm Nicole Millerin. I'm the co-owner of Brave Spaces Counseling and Wellness. We do counseling and wellness services for kids through adults.
Brodalock.
Hi, I'm Jen Grubel with Brodalock, and we have residential facilities for adults.
Catholic Charities of La Crosse.
I'm Charity. I'm the finance coordinator. We provide CCS services in La Crosse County.
Children's Wisconsin. Rita.
I'm Amanda from Cholita. We provide CCS services and CLTS services. To CLTS services to kids up to 21 and CCS services, we provide daily living skills, wellness through music therapy, as well as mental health therapy for all ages.
Christian Servants Home Care.
Good morning. Sorry, my camera wasn't working there. My name is Lauren Matera. I'm the general manager for Christian Servants Home Care. We partner with counties all over Wisconsin for CLTS as well as CCS services. And we also do supportive home care and respite for adults in their homes as well.
Create Behavior Solutions.
Good morning. I'm Jenny Diamond. I'm the clinical director at Create Behavior Solutions. We provide behavior support and acceptance and commitment therapy for parents and unpaid caregivers in the CLTS program. We are telehealth only, and we're practicing in about 15 counties in Wisconsin right now.
DeerPath.
Good morning. I'm Erica with DeerPath Integrated Living. We do residential for adults, and we also provide some community services. I do have an announcement. So we are currently in the pilot phase of our behavioral health education program for residential providers. And that's pretty exciting. We received a grant last summer to create this program. So if any of you are residential providers or know of any that might want to participate in the free behavioral health training program we created, let me know.
Down Syndrome Association of Wisconsin. Looks like he's having technical difficulties. We have Tim on from there, and they provide daily living skills. Easter Seals, Wisconsin.
Hi, my name is Jenny. I'm the camp billing specialist at Easter Seals. I haven't been here long, and this is my first meeting. I'm just here to learn.
Essential Skills.
Yes, good morning, everybody. My name is Bill Humphrey. I'm with Essential Skills Peer Support. I do wellness management and independent living skills. My focus is on recovery, outdoor related skills, and hands-on learning for youth and adults. My announcement would be I have some openings for clients for the spring and summer term.
Family and Children's Center.
Hello, I'm Mary Jacobson. I'm the director of programs at Family and Children's Center, and we provide services for outpatient wellness management, as well as supported employment. And we can serve people in Jackson, Monroe, La Crosse, and Vernon counties.
First Time Farms.
This is Jim Ward with First Times Farm. We provide wellness and behavior management, individual skill development through equine assisted skill building for Jackson, Monroe, and La Crosse for both CCS and CLTS. And I have an announcement. We have an opening with a new vendor, if anyone's looking to get somebody out here. So thanks.
Thank you. Flocks.
Did you say Flocks?
No.
Okay. This is Renee from Flocks Guardians Program Manager. We work in Monroe County, primarily a little bit of Jackson County, and we do CCS for individual skill development, some med management, wellness, and family psychoeducation.
Restores. United.
Yes, hello. Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm the COO of Ignited. Great to meet all of you. We're excited to be here. We're a new vendor and we provide telehealth services for people with substance use around reducing and abstaining. We have an on-demand content library and we do virtual group sessions as well as individual sessions. Thank you.
Independent Living Resources.
Hi, my name is Sadie Nelson. We are provide services through CCS for wellness and ISDE and home modification assessments and assistive technology assessments for CLTS.
Innovative Services.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Hudson, CCS Administrator for Innovative Services. We mainly provide CCS services across the state of Wisconsin to youth and adults, mostly skills, medication management, and wellness.
Okay. First Health Clinic. Ironwood Springs Christian Ranch.
Good morning. I'm Matthew Van Dixon, Associate Director for Ironwood Springs Christian Ranch. We're out of southeastern Minnesota. We are a CLTS partner with many counties in Minnesota, and we're new vendors with various counties now in Wisconsin. We're really excited about this partnership with your state. We provide transformational experiences, retreats, camps for families and individuals with special needs as well as with physical disabilities. And we serve the military on top of that. We're super excited to be part of this partnership, mainly because there's so many families out there with great need, and we just appreciate the connection.
Thank you. Lakeview, Hillview?
I'm Nicole Weigel from Lakeview. I'm out in the assisted living with Nishanik and Maplewood. And we have some CCS sites basically for individual skills and med management.
Thank you. Mastering Life Skills?
Good morning. I am Stacy Masters, and we typically provide services for CCS and additionally a little bit of CLTS as well.
Milkweed Connections?
Hi, my name is Kim Blue, and I'm here from Milkweed. I'm the team administrator. I handle all the referrals and credentialing and documentation. We provide mostly CCS to about 14 counties here in western-ish Wisconsin, including peer support. We also do, we work with a first episode psychosis program locally, mostly in Dunn County. And
Yep. Okay. Mindful Way Adventures?
Morning, my name is Nikki. I'm the owner of Mindful Adventures. Through the CCS program, I have wellness management and the ISDE that I'm affiliated with, and I offer those services to children.
Thank you. Motivating Minds?
Hi, good morning. My name is Ebony, the owner of Motivated Minds. We provide 6 services under the CLTS program for La Crosse County. We also have a job readiness program for individuals that's not in the services that La Crosse County that we've been we've been approved of. So we also have different services for individuals outside of that. You're more than welcome to visit our website at motivating-minds.com. It's a great website. You're going to gain a lot of information on the service we provide under the Children's Long-Term Support System and outside of that. We do have virtual services. Our services are on Saturdays from 8 to 6, and we have services after hours Monday through Friday as well. So that is great. And I am a new vendor here, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Welcome. Nystrom Counseling? Parenting Peer?
Hi, I am Bailey. I do peer parent support for the RIT Consortium. I offer psychoeducation, skills, and wellness, and I am just laser focused on the parent, on the team.
Yeah. Person First? Strides Equestrian? Fine.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jen. I'm with Stein Counseling, and I'm joined by Beth Chapman and Brittany Niebuhr, and also Kathy Olson and Kim Stein are in this call as well. We provide outpatient services, and then we contract with CCS. We're also starting to contract with CLTS, and we also do NMT. A couple new things coming up for our company is we're actually launching a dance movement therapy program for vets, which is starting to do some intakes and beginning kind of stages April 1st, and then we're going to be opening that up to the public in July. We also have an adolescent DBT group that's meeting on Mondays, And then we have a safe spaces group for our LGBTQ community, middle schoolers and high schoolers. That's on Thursdays.
Thank you. Success for Life.
Hello, good morning. I'm sorry, my camera at this moment is not quite functioning. My name is Catherine or Katie Anderson with Success for Life. We're able to provide individual skill development, employment related things, and training for getting employment, wellness management and recovery services, both for adults and youth. We are working with CCS and CLTS. We work in facilities, homes, libraries, really anywhere that the youth and families are most comfortable. We are kind of sort of new. This is my first meeting. Program administrator for Colorado, where we also provide services, but now in Wisconsin. So we're just excited to be here to just help education and just for any other future planning.
Thank you. Valerian.
My name is Barb Blank. Go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead. Okay, I'll go. I'm Joe Ludovis from Tulare. I'm with the Care Center and the Community Intervention Team. I provide CCS services, wellness management, recovery, and individual skills.
And I'm Barb Blank. I assist with the CIT program, but I'm mostly working through the Care Center. I am a training and quality assurance team lead.
Thank you. Parenting Place.
I'm Susan, and we have family peer support services for CLTS and CCS, and we also have family navigation specialists who do those functional screens for little ones.
Three Willows Equine.
Hello, I'm Angie. I'm with Three Willows Equine. I provide equine assisted wellness management and skill development and with CCS, and eventually I'd like to do CLTS as well.
Okay. Trailways Counseling.
Good morning. I'm Angie Grogan with Trailways. I'm a partner and the director of operations. And we provide CLTS, CCS, in the ISDE area, psychotherapy, psychoeducation, and wellness. We provide services for all three counties in RIC, and we also provide outpatient services.
Trinity Equestrian.
Hi, I'm Cheyenne Meadow. I'm the HR manager at Trinity. We offer CCS services in psychotherapy, wellness management and recovery, and ISDE, as well as CLTS services in counseling and therapeutic services for both youth and adults.
Thank you. Vernon Area Rehab Center.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shelby Neubauer. I am the Director of Client Services at VARC. I also have Michelin Swan, who is a program manager here on the call, but we contract for CLTS and CCS services in Sauk County, La Crosse County, Monroe, Juneau, Vernon, Richland, and an exciting announcement, not super new, but we also have an inclusive daycare center where we provide additional supports for kiddos who might need some extra help in the daycare setting. And I think that's all. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Michelin Swan, so I'm program manager at VARC for client services.
Thank you. Vernon Memorial. Wisconsin Family Ties. Thank you.
Donna Adolphson. I do the billing and the payroll for Wisconsin Family Ties.
Good morning, Amy Arndt with Wisconsin Family Ties as well. We also have Jody Rostel on. I am the regional supervisor for Wisconsin Family Ties, and we offer peer support. We offer it with the families. We are located through the state of Wisconsin. We offer CCS, CLTS. We have contracts with some youth justice counties, CPS, and our headquarters is in Madison. So we're excited to be on here. And Jody Rastel is our parent peer support person who is providing support to the counties and RIC. And we are excited to be on here. And sorry, Janet, I didn't see that you were on because I'm in the car, so I cut you off.
No problem. Thanks, Amy.
Okay, YWCA.
Good morning. My name is Kelly Anderson. I'm the Director of Business and Finance for the YWCA of La Crosse. Our programs include childcare, restorative justice programming in the school district and with the county, community education, and supportive housing. Our contracts with La Crosse include Ophelia's House, residential women's-based services. We also have a contract for restorative justice programming and racial justice trainings.
Thank you. A little out of order. I see two people at least on from Corporate Guardians.
Good morning. Hi, I'm Kay Schrader, the president and owner of Corporate Guardians. We provide guardianship services actively in about 60 counties throughout the state. We do hold a contract with La Crosse for guardianship services. We serve as youth and in the youth and adult guardianship programs, and also provide case management services, power of attorney, estate services for those outside of the Medicaid system. And Kelsey has joined me on the meeting this morning.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Burrs. I am a guardian of person rep that serves in this territory for La Crosse County and surrounding counties. Happy to be here.
Thank you. I see Jess on from Jackson County. If you can introduce yourself.
Sure, Jessica Stinson from Jackson County, the behavioral health manager. So we oversee CCS here, CLTS, crisis, outpatient clinic, CST, all of the programs under behavioral health.
You haven't introduced yourself and you'd like to, if you could raise your hand and then I'll kind of call on you. Laura Mathis.
I'm Laura Mathis with Verroco Nutrition Counseling. I'm a registered dietitian and I work in Vernon and La Crosse and Monroe and Richland counties. And I am currently all telehealth and I see adults and adolescents.
And then L&P, I see you.
Hi, I'm Lisa with L&P Services, and we are primarily out of Monroe County. We do CLTS and CCS for kiddos and adults.
Life and Harmony.
Hi, my name is Amy Schock, and I'm the founder and visionary leader at Life in Harmony. We offer music therapy services around 9 counties in Wisconsin. We have an outreach facility in Viroqua, Black River Falls, and Tomah. And our update is that we are currently looking to fill our open practice management position. Thank you.
Shy Jackson.
Hi, my name is Shad Jackson. I am the Director over Operations at Hope Restores, which is an African American resource center located in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Hi, friends. I recognize a lot of the names and things that went up. We primarily focus on connection and healing through support groups. We provide support groups for all age levels, and then we also provide community health workers to help remove barriers within the community. Thank you.
Julie Woodbury.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Julie Woodbury. I am the Family Preservation and Support Manager for Children's Wisconsin. That's just a fancy way of saying program manager. We provide CCS and CLTS services for Jackson County mostly. And we have a family resource center here that serves all of Western Wisconsin and about 8 other programs serving everyone from birth to adults. So that's pretty much what we do.
Yeah. Brady Hoare.
I'm Carrie. I'm with Crimson Hound Dog Training. I'm a certified professional dog trainer and dog behavior consultant. I am not new to CCS. I've been providing canine skill services for a couple of years, but I am a new sole vendor. So I provide skill building with kids and adults in their home with people that have their own dog. Right now, I'm primarily working in La Crosse County.
Thank you. Thomas Sampson.
Hi, my name is Thomas Sampson. I'm the contracting director with CC We Adapt. We currently provide individual skill development and enhancement, wellness management, and psychotherapy and psychoeducation, as well as respite services and health and wellness services via the CLTS program.
Thank you. I think we have everybody. Anybody I missed?
I was missed. My name is Rochelle Lee, and I'm the Community Living Supervisor at the Lakeview campus, the assisted living. In our Maplewood CBRF, we collaborate with.
You're freezing up, so I think we'll just move on. Thank you. Okay, so the first thing on the agenda is our request for proposals. We have one coming out this next quarter. So I have Tanya Van Tool, who introduced herself earlier, our Justice Support Manager, just to give a quick summary of that. And then I'll talk about timeline.
Hi, everyone. I know that there's probably a lot of people on this call, one who don't know me. I am new to this meeting, but I am, as I mentioned earlier, the manager of Justice Support Services. We, as a brief overview, oversee adult justice support services, youth justice. We also oversee La Crosse Area Family Collaborative, as well as System of Care. So a couple of the preventative and early intervention programs, as well as working with adult and youth who are impacted by the justice system. And we have a request for proposal that's getting prepared as we speak to address our needs for GPS, which would be our ankle monitors, and as well as our alcohol breath, remote breath machines. And so we are seeking vendors who are interested in applying. Is that the word, Chris? Because I'm relatively new to this whole process as well. But we are looking for people to, or organizations to submit their proposals, and we serve approximately 70 to 80 people at any given point on the GPS units. These are court-ordered participants in our programming, both youth and adults, and so we have been doing some, having some really good conversations as far as what our needs are, and we are looking for the latest technology that both functions with the high battery for client accessibility, and then also we are looking for supportive units that are less that have less stigma. So there's new technology that with GPS units that are coming out on a regular basis. So we're really hoping to find technology that is not as stigmatizing out in the community. So those are our main goals with this RFP process. And so again, a lot of you may not be impacted, but we're on the very start of this process.
Thank you. So that RFP will be released in April. It is a longer RFP process than normal because what we do is we release it. We pick a couple of vendors to actually test their equipment for a couple of weeks because of the bluffs that we have here. We want to make sure the equipment works in every place that we possibly can. And so it will be released sometime in April, and then it will, we'll start, if we transition to a new vendor, that would start end of July. The current contract goes through the end of July or August 1st. So that's kind of the timeline for that. But we do have, I know that Alcohol Monitoring Systems was on here. They are our current vendor, and we do have a whole process that we work through where vendors can ask questions and all of that. So does anybody have any questions just on the general RFP or that? Okay. Great. All right, next up is Children's Long-Term Support Waiver Program updates.
That's me. So I'm Shelly. I'm one of the supervisors for CLTS. I'm taking the lead now. We've done a few changes for CLTS, and I'll be like the main person that you'll be working with for contracting, getting things set up, or if you have questions regarding the program, and then any vendor updates, meetings that we have. Ellen is secondary to me if I'm not available. She's usually trying to hop on a lot of the meetings if I'm not able to come. And then Angie Welch will be the other supervisor that takes the leads with authorizations and any authorization errors and problems. And just to give you guys an all update, many of you know that WPS is changing over to Gainwell in 2025. They don't have the exact date yet for that, but they're pushing it more to mid-year of 2025. And I don't know if you have the GovD on it, but there is a provider forum coming up on May 16th from 1 to 2. And if you didn't get that email with the link, you can let me know and I can send that out to you. The waiver leads have one later in May, but that should keep providers up to date on where Gainwell's at with that transition over to the new system. And then Annalise, she introduced herself earlier, Annalise Trinka. She's going to be the person that now you can turn your CLTS training logs into. So initially, when I get you set up as a new vendor, you send those out right away for those that are already up and going. But each new staff that you hire each year, we require those annually to have new staff sign off on those training logs, and Annalise will be getting those. You can always reach out to me too. And then the third thing I had, it's not waiver related, but I just want to put a pitch out as I'm one of the event coordinators for the mental health walk that we do annually. I'm going to put it in the chat. I have talked to some of you to share with your teams at your agencies, but we always like to have as many people from the community part of that annual mental health awareness walk that we do. It's going to be May 23rd this year. It's a Thursday. It's always the Thursday, usually before Memorial Day weekend. Last year it was beautiful. So it kicks off at noon, and I will get that in the chat once I find it in my folder, and I'll put that out there for you. Please share with any of your partners and community members too. But anyway, those are the big updates for CLTS. Does anybody have any specific questions for me? Okay, short and sweet. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, CCS updates.
I'm sorry, this is Catherine from Success for Life. I couldn't find my hand raise button. You had mentioned that there was going to be, the training logs were going to be needed to turn in to Annalise.
Correct.
And you also mentioned that was going to be emailed as well?
Oh,
Or
did
is
you
it
not
like those new
receive the
updates were
training
also-
log?
So we do have the training log. I just wanted to make sure that I had my note correct so that I can let Chad know, because I'm kind of just now stepping in in this position. So I can make sure he does, but I just was taking a note. So I wanted to make sure that I had it
Annalise
correct.
Trinka. Annalise, do you want to throw your email in
Okay.
the chat? That would be helpful. And then that's the person that will get the training logs annually, instead of Cindy in contracting. And you can CC me too, that's fine. Or if you forget Annalise, you can send it to me. We'll make sure we get it. She's the one that reviews
Okay,
and signs
sweet.
off on them. Yep.
Thank you. I'm on my phone. Eventually I'll figure out where the hand raise button is.
That's
so thank
okay,
you.
no
I'm sorry
problem.
for that.
Thanks for jumping in there. We can always backtrack if we need to. Thank
Okay.
you.
Annalise, I just now got it. Thank you. I see it.
And just to clarify, that is the appendix 12, the one that we need for CLTS. it's named Appendix 12 under CLTS training log, just so you don't confuse it with CCS training logs.
Perfect. I did just read over that probably last week or the week before, Appendix 12. The manual, I'm like slowly getting through, but I had like the highlights of the pages or the appendices which you go over. So
Sure.
thank you
Yeah.
for that.
No, thanks. We just want to clarify for those on that have CCS training logs too. Thank you.
Okay, CCS.
Right. Well, I'll start us off. So, hello again, everybody. I'm supervisors. A few things on our agenda to talk through about CCS. Kind of divided it up into 3 segments, so we'll be kind of bouncing back and forth to share updates. So we're going to start with where have we been and kind of closing out what did we learn from 2023. We'll spend some time talking about what to look forward to and prepare for in 2025. And then end back on, all right, so what are the next steps? Like, what are the focus points for 2024? And looking at those segments. So I'm going to start us off with where have we been? So I'm going to screen share here. It's to kind of talk about like, the State of the Union just happened. This is like the state of CCS and how Rick has been. Not going to be terribly eloquent, but we'll go through it. So if you like data or if you like knowing like, hey, what have been the trends so I can better understand like what kind of service needs are out there or where should I tailor my programming or, what kind of things are we looking for? This is kind of a summary of who are the folks that we're serving or who we served in 2023. So a lot of this data that we're going to share comes from some of our assessment tools that we do at admission and every 6 months, just to kind of get a sense of the story of the folks that we're serving. This assessment tool not only captures the story, but it puts it into some actionable data points for us, and just kind of talks about, all right, where are the needs? Where are the strengths? How much work will it take to, is it anticipated to take to support somebody through this need in their life? So, so some of you might be familiar with some of these tools. We have 2. One is called the CANS, the Children and Adolescent Needs and Strengths. It looks at a lot of different things like how's the youth doing with family and social life, daily living skills, how are they doing at school, behavioral and emotional needs like risk factors, are they a danger to like what are the strengths that are going well for them, how are their parents and caregivers doing, and looking at the whole family unit. So we're measuring those data points. We also have the Adult Needs and Strengths tool that very similar is just kind of looking at, how is our adult doing? How are their family and social relationships? How are they doing in the parent or caregiving role? Do they have medical needs that complicate their care, their daily living skills, behavioral, emotional needs and such? So it's kind of what these tools are looking at. If you have more curiosity, you can always bring it up within the team meeting context. Our facilitators are working through these. Yeah, kind of what we learned throughout the year is Rick served about 700, just shy of 720 folks last year. We admitted 150 new folks. It's kind of consistent over the years that it's about evenly split between youth and adults. It's been kind of consistent over several years, and it continues to kind of be the same theme. Our vendor network continues to grow. So we have 93 contracted agencies that we work with Rick CCS. It's a lot of people. As you're doing introductions, I realized only about like 30 vendors are on from CCS. So that's about a third of folks today. So this group times 3 is how many vendors we have. And from that, we have background checks and reference letters and training logs and all the personnel backgrounds information for over 1,000 staff amongst all your agencies. So that's a big undertaking for us to help keep track of all your people and making sure that all their information is in and up to date. So within our program, last year, we admitted 152. We also had 165 exits. So we're learning that about 3.5 years right now is the length that folks are in the CCS program before they discharge and transition on to the next thing. About 2/3 of those are successfully completing the program and stepping down to lower levels of care. About 25% or 1/4 of them are leaving unsuccessfully. A lot of times that's due to no contact or no engagement or go to a higher level of care. And we have about 10% that are kind of in that neutral category. So they moved out of the area. Death is also one of the reasons that we would close out. But it's kind of like snapshot of the program census and the size and the scope of RIC from last year. But we'll break it down into a little bit. I know some of you work with youth, some of you work with adults, some of you work with the parents and caregivers. So we'll just kind of do a short dive into each of those categories, just to kind of give you an idea of what's out there. So our youth, the numbers kind of follow between that success and unsuccessful completion. Where I think a lot of folks have interest is what are the needs that we're seeing? So it's kind of a snapshot of the top 5 needs for those that are coming in new to the program and those that have been in the program for at least a year and are continuing forward. So at admission, what we're seeing a lot of is, 73%, about 3/4 of our youth coming in are struggling with peer relationships. And so that is a big need. How do we help our youth and our teens build social skills, help connect to other peers, and build healthy and meaningful relationships? So as you're thinking about like, hey, how can I make my services more meaningful and more impactful? This is definitely our top level one, is how to help youth learn and engage in healthy peer relationships. About half of our youth struggling with impulse control. So slowing down, how do we make decisions? How do we not just immediately react to things? Just shy of half of our youth coming in with some sort of family relationship conflict. So how do we look at that family relationship? How do we support the whole family unit and help our parents and our caregivers with their needs? How do we help the youth interact with the parent caregiver team as well? So those are kind of our top 3 at admission. For those that have been in the program, kind of similar things. I know one of the needs that has been increasing over the years is the need for independent daily living skills. I know we have a number of youth that are becoming teenagers, that are becoming young adults. And one of the trends that we're seeing is we've spent so much time in services and programming, we're kind of losing track of, hey, you're going to be an adult soon. Like, do you know how to wash your own laundry? Do you know how to apply for benefits? Do you know how to find your own place? Do you have your own routines and systems set up for you to manage yourself? Or have you become so reliant on somebody else kind of prompting you through the day and coaching you through the day that you are lacking that capacity to do it for yourself or come up with that system for yourself? So again, great target area if you work with youth or young adults and they're like, hey, how can I get in here differently? Or what are things I can help out with? A lot of our youth coming in with a lot of strengths that we can use. Again, like, hey, how do we build programming? A lot of our youth are coming in with an identified talent or interest. So as your team is getting to know some of these new youth, it's kind of like, hey, what are you interested in? How can we connect you with that interest? I can't remember which agency, but I know there was an agency at one point that was trying to do social skills via Minecraft, because it was like, we're seeing all these kids with an interest in video gaming. How do we build on that? I know there's a gaming group out there that says, hey, how do we build social skills over board games and gaming groups? So trying to find and pay attention to those patterns. Where are the interests of some of the kids and how can we build on that? Also leaning into a lot of relationships. A lot of our youth are coming in. It may not be their immediate parent caregiver. It might be extended family or relationship permanence. That is, do you have at least one caring adult that's been consistent throughout your life? That may or may not be the parent caregiver, but how do we bring those folks in and support them as well? Our impact. So this graph, ups and downs, is kind of showing our folks, our youth from 2023. Blue line being where they were at when they came to the program, gray line being where they were at when they left the program. Just kind of broken out by domain category. So social and life functioning, we're seeing a decrease in needs. So this is needs that we're working on. So a decrease would indicate that, hey, we're showing progress. They came in with higher needs and a decreased need at the end would show positive improvement. So better ability to manage mental health, school kind of going up and down here, family relationships. By the end of it, we're seeing it go down slightly. Legal system involvement going down a little bit. Psychiatric hospitalization risk. So this would be risk of suicide, harm to others. We're seeing that go down quite a bit too. So I guess the story behind this is kudos to a lot of your teams helping our youth navigate this in the last year. Because you are the ones helping build some of these social skills. You're the ones helping learn new coping skills to manage when life becomes overwhelming. And how do we stay away from the hospital systems and emergency services? How do we manage our mental health a little bit better? So big kudos to all of you. This visualization is kind of like, hey, have we seen this go up or down over the last few years? So this is trends over the last 3 years. Notably, I mean, social life functioning has kind of been the same. General mental health kind of seeing the same. We are seeing school behaviors kind of trend up over the last few years. We're seeing child and family conflict go down. So that means that there is a lot more, well, we don't know why it is, but we just know that when folks come into the program, there is less family conflict now than there was a few years ago. The legal system involvement has been going down over the last few years. So again, just kind of some interesting trends. Again, as folks are like, is this like a weird year where this was a spike, or is this pretty consistent? So that's what this graph is showing. And then our strengths. How are we doing with building up some of those strengths or using the strengths? These are just a few call outs for the youth side. Just talking about, you know, we're building more positive peer relationships. So we're seeing, again, we were seeing like about 3/4, 75% of folks coming in with struggling with social interactions, but we're also leaving the program with more peer relationships and having more positive peer relationships, generally feeling better about ourselves, having more optimism and hope for our future. So that one's going up. Interaction with community life. It's not just all about programming, but it's about the community I live in, and I have people and places that I can go and connect with. Building up our natural support network and people that care about us, building up resiliency. So this is more commonly known as coping skills. So when life gets hard, how can I manage it? Do I have the tools and abilities to weather some of the hardships of life? Just pausing a moment. It's kind of the end of the youth summary before I switch forward. Some short information on our caregivers. So our parents, caregivers. Again, so if you are an agency that focuses on parents, caregivers, and support networks, or if you have an interest, here's what we're seeing. A lot of our family caregivers are very stressed at time of admission. They're just like, there's so much to manage. So again, how do we help mitigate some of that stress? How do we help manage some of that stress alongside of them? Big one being we don't have social supports. We're doing this all on our own. We need to find other parent caregivers in the area. How do we connect and find our people? So it's not just me all by myself here, but I have other people I can turn to. Some of our parent caregivers are trying to manage their own mental health and their own needs while also caring for their youth or their adult children who are struggling with their mental health needs. So yeah, home organization, just it's a lot to keep track of. All the different appointments and schedules and who's meeting who, when, where, along with the normal stuff like dishes and laundry and just everything else life has. So just helping our parents and caregivers find methods and routines of how do we organize our home so that everybody can be where they need to be and things are getting done. So those are kind of the needs. Just rearranged differently between our new folks and families that we've been working with for more than a year. Kind of the theme for our caregivers. So switching over to our adult services. So if you work with adults, it's kind of the trends and themes we're seeing here. Again, similar setup. It's kind of what are we seeing at intake? So why are folks coming into the program? Here we're seeing a lot of depression and anxiety. How do I manage that? Social connections, not feeling like they have friends or people to just talk to. Managing some sort of trauma from their past or recently. Just this big thing happened. I'm not sure how to manage it, or trying to unpack how this has impacted my life. So those are some big ones. Lack of meaningful activity is an interesting one too, where we have a lot of adults who are like, you know, my day to day is going to services and programming all day. You know, I don't know if I have hobbies. I don't know if I have interests. My life has been so inundated with services. I don't know what else there is for life. So helping our adults kind of connect to life outside of services and what is out there in the community, what gives them meaning and purpose, a reason to wake up in the morning and strive for better. Well, it's not in the top 5. Some focal points of the community have been where are we at with adult substance use and homelessness and housing stability. So that's where those 2 data points kind of come in, that, you know, about 25%, well, 26 to be exact, are struggling with substance use when they come into CCS. About 26% are struggling with housing stability or homelessness and are seeking additional supports there. Kind of, again, looking at our adults and like what strengths are they bringing in? A lot of our adults are educated. They have completed schools or higher degree levels, 80% of them to be exact. So, you know, we have educated folks who are trying to navigate life. They come in with a lot of coping skills and coping strategies already. So that's that idea behind resilience. Pretty aware of community resources, that resourcefulness. A lot of them have a sense of belongingness, like I have people. And so again, just how can we tailor some of our services to build on those? Like, hey, rather than pulling you into my program or my network, how do we build upon the community that you feel like you belong to already? So those are kind of some of the strengths that we can use. On the right-hand side, their strengths to develop are kind of like the areas that our adults are feeling not so confident in. They're like, you know, I don't really get out and volunteer much. I don't really feel connected to my community. I might have people, but I don't feel connected to my broader community. So that's, yeah, kind of a snapshot of where our adults are at this point. Kind of similar, how did last year go? Blue line being where they were at when they came in. Orange line being where they were at when they left the program. So again, we're seeing decrease of needs. This is measuring needs. So general struggling with mental health challenges. We're seeing that go down. Use of substances going down. Legal interactions and legal contacts going down. utilization of emergency services going down, unemployment going down. So we're getting folks more connected with jobs and volunteering, housing instability. So again, a lot of folks are coming in at risk of eviction or homeless and working alongside of them, helping them to find stable housing at the end. And kind of some trends over time. Is this a fluke year? Was this kind of consistent? Kind of all over the place. Some of these go very up and down. Some are a little more consistent. So again, just to kind of give the idea of, you know, is this going to be a thing ongoing that we can project? Well, some of these kind of seem fairly consistent. But again, a lot of kudos to those of you that work with adults. So bringing down those needs and building up the strengths of our adults. So a lot more adults are feeling more hopeful when they leave the program. More job history and employment leaving, feeling slightly more connected to their community, slightly broader natural support network. And although a lot came in with coping strategies and resiliency, leaving with even more coping skills in their toolboxes. So again, just a lot of good work that the teams are doing out there. Again, the intent with this was just to kind of give snapshots. I know a lot of agencies are like, hey, what's going on? How can I fit in? Where can I tailor services? Hopefully that'll give you some ideas, get some wheels turning about, ooh, like that could be an interest area for me to explore, for our team to explore further. But, for a transition, any other questions or thoughts on some of that data?
Hello, Ryan. I had a question on some of that data.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The needs and strengths numbers, I think that was one of the first slides you showed us. The numbers in parentheses at the end of some of those benchmarks. Am I correct in assuming those are individuals that the strengths and needs were identified?
Are you talking this slide, Bill? You said it was earlier on.
Yeah.
That one?
Yep.
Okay. So the parentheses is how many items are in that category. So when we're looking at adult needs, we're considering 148 different items that relate to an adult's needs. So from that list, I was just showing you the top 5 out of 148 for the adults and the top 5 out of 97 for the youth.
Okay,
yeah.
so
that's what those numbers are meaning.
For example, then under adult needs, 148 items, is that specific types of needs an adult might have, such as grooming or showing up to appointments on time and that kind of thing?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So that's kind of where this breakout is. Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Ryan. This is Shy. I really appreciate all the data and information that you shared. With one of the support groups that we offer is Women of Melanin, and we're starting to see a connection to like age group too. And so we're noticing that the older women are actually wanting to create like a sub support group for like 55 plus. Are you recognizing any like issues with connecting within like age groups at all?
Oh, that's a really good question. We don't have data readily accessible to that. We could probably do some analysis to explore it, but we haven't been paying attention to that, to be honest. No, this is a good call out though.
Yeah, I was just curious because we didn't notice it with our men's group. Our men's support group is 18 on up and they do fine, with connecting. We didn't really notice it. We noticed it with our kids support groups for like girls. They'd like those ages broken down. The boys are good being grouped together. And then, like I said, when it got to the women, I think it had a lot to do with like different experiences, and they're just not in the same place. So I thought that was really interesting that they wanted to do a 55 plus separate. And so I was just wondering if there was any other patterns. So thank you.
Yeah.
No, and I just want to say thank you, Ryan, because I think it's good to bring it back to the team. And we're a smaller company, so we don't do the breakdown as numbers as much as the county does. And so I think just having those numbers and bringing it back to the staff gives them more motivation to make a difference. So thank you for sharing.
I see Nicole has her hand up.
Hey, I was wondering if the client signs a release of information, can we look at the cans? Either like, can they be brought to a team meeting or for the whole team?
Yeah, yeah. So for La Crosse in particular, we do the cans and ANSA as part of the assessment process and as part of the service planning process. So yeah, if you could certainly bring that up to the team and say, hey, could we talk this over, look it over, kind of see what's going on. And each individual consumer, if they are doing the cans and ANSA, there's progress reports over time that kind of show how is this person doing in this area. So if we are really focusing on, like, I know, Bill, you called out like organization and making 2 appointments on time. Like if you've been noticing that's a trend, like you can see if we're making progress in that area, if it's staying the same, vice versa for any of those items. Well, I took a lot of time, so I'm gonna move us on. If there is interest, we can throw out our CCS soups in the email in the chat, but could certainly email this out later too, or share it on vendor SharePoint as well.
With all of that information being shared, we continue to take a look at the general service needs between all 3 counties within RIC CCS. And so as Ryan detailed in the summary trends and the data summary trends, some of those service area needs specifically for our Jackson County area, and which is one of our more rural counties compared to La Crosse, and then Monroe as well has some rural areas. Please consider expanding your provider services out into those counties as well. I know a lot of the vendors, CCS vendors on today, support the La Crosse County area, but if you have the ability to expand services into the Jackson County and Monroe County areas, especially in the areas of skills development, wellness, AODA, psychotherapy. I know Jackson County is really hurting for some psychotherapists. I think Jess jump in here, but she was saying they have a wait list of 50 clients who are currently needing psychotherapy services of some sort. So if you know of anybody interested in contracting with RIC CCS and can be a provider in our more rural counties, please do consider reaching out so that we can provide quality clinical services to those areas. As well as I'm going to pass it off to Annalise too to give some 2023 just kind of reminders and follow-ups as well.
Thanks. Yeah, one of my big projects at the beginning of the year is going through all the 2023 ongoing or annual training logs and supervision logs. So I've been working diligently through those. There are some agencies that we haven't received anything from. So because that does make us out of compliance with the requirements for the program, we'll have to start processing some hold payments in April. So if you're realizing that you forgot to turn something in, you can get it to me directly or send it through our QA department, and it'll get to me and I'll get those taken care of. So that was it for me.
As we continue to keep going on, we're going to transition more to looking ahead. Right now, just wanting to give us some updates, maybe get your eye on the future. I know it just turned 2024, so bear with me as I start talking and looking ahead and preparing for 2025. But we wanted to take this opportunity, one, to give all our vendors the opportunity to have enough time to start. I know I'm sure budget seasons are coming upon your agencies in the near future. So we wanted to get these heads up to you so that you can start considering it as you start to think about where your budgets and kind of practices and policies and procedures are moving forward for 2025. So with that being said, just being thoughtful and being able to prepare appropriately. So most of the vendors here, and if I haven't gotten to you, I'm pretty sure I'll be seeing you soon in a vendor connect meeting. But one of the things that I've been talking about is the RIC CCS consortium really sharpening our clinical focus. We have all of the RIC leaders, Jess, myself, Ryan, Ellen, and Alicia. We have been meeting frequently to really talk about aligning across our 3 counties and really honing in on the clinical quality of services that are being provided to our CCS consumers. So we're looking at that in a couple different ways, as well as getting some pressure from the state and getting pressure from the state of kind of sharpening our clinical overview of certain aspects of the CCS program. One of those ways is making sure that your staff, your providers, when they are completing their orientation training materials, making sure that as a supervisor over that staff member, or if you are that person completing your orientation training log, making sure that you're doing training to a level of competency, clinical competency, and not just a checkbox that you're just getting it done. We want to make sure that that the orientation training log is really a thoughtful training process for providers to get the clinical skills in areas of mental health and substance use areas to make sure that they're competent providers in the CCS program. So right now we're asking for agencies and vendors to really be more thoughtful, or maybe even take a moment to review their current training process for new providers that they onboard. So this is the orientation training log that every single provider coming into CCS has to complete, either the 20-hour route or the 40-hour route, depending on your 6 years or 6 months of experience or not. So making sure that vendors are reviewing that process and really taking a look at how do we know that our providers are competent in the trainings that they're taking. So that could be some examples, or ideas could be, are they taking a test to prove competency? Do they have a clinical supervision that follows up that training to ensure that they are grasping the details? Do they have booster sessions throughout the year that help kind of reaffirm what the orientation log is? I know those are a couple ideas, but confirming competency of providers or some sort of evaluation process. There's nothing formal at this process. So as us as a CCS program, we're not going to be requiring anything formal as of right now. We're still waiting for more direction and guidance from the state as to if they're going to put pressure on us as a CCS program, but wanted to really just make sure we did talk about that. That might be a change coming in 2025. The other change that will be coming in 2025 is a requirement for an ethics and boundaries training for all staff or all providers, CCS providers in 2025 of all credential types. So currently, for any DSPS regulated credentials that are in good standing, there is an ethics requirements for your licensure. So if you're an LPC or a psychologist or a LCSW, if you hold a DSPS credential, you do have to already obtain an ethics and boundaries training as part of your license renewal. But for any non-DSPS regulated credentials, ethics and boundaries training isn't a required training. We do suggest it on our orientation log, but it is not required. So starting in 2025, we will be requiring ethics and boundaries training for all non-DSPS regulated credentials. And so Rick is exploring a code of ethics for all human services professionals. We're doing this through our Rick CCS coordination committee. So hopefully we'll be able to roll that out and give you more kind of guidance on what that looks like. But ethics and boundaries trainings can look like you can, go to PESI or UW Green Bay has some offerings. They're offered very widely in many different types of categories. So they're definitely out there, but you frequently have to pay for them. So about $15. Some can be as costly as $150. There's a wide range of them. The RIC leaders, we're looking at some possibilities of how we can find ways to offer a free training session, but really no promises there. We're just trying to explore kind of making sure that ethics and boundaries training is available to all. But currently there definitely are ethics and boundaries trainings out there, and you do have to pay for them. So another thing to consider why we're sharing this right now is so that the vendors, you can start considering that as part of your budget process or entailing it into your 2025 kind of plans for your agency. But it will be required starting in 2025 with the 2025 annual training cycle. All right, yeah. So Ellen is going to keep taking it here on looking ahead and preparing for 2025.
Yes, and just like as Sarah was saying, we're kind of honing in on things more. And in regards to this area, I'm talking about the expectation is around like having a primary clinical supervisor available to staff. And in particular, we're thinking about the RW workers, that is a requirement, and that is part of Chapter 36 that talks about that particular that needs to be available to the staff. And though the RIC has been providing, you've been a part of, we have the clinical supervisions that we offer. The monthly groups that we offer is a supplement. However, we don't want it to be considered that primary, that each agency, that has the staff should have somebody that they are considering their primary to work with their persons around getting that clinical supervision. So, and as we're working towards those RFPs, which we'll talk about more later, but that might be something to consider to also kind of put into your budgeting to plan for that you have the funds to be able to support paying that supervision. If you don't have that already internally, is there an external source that you're getting that supervision from? We're just honing in on that more because just reminding that this is a clinical program. This is a clinical recovery program around that mental health and AODA needs, though people are not clinicians necessarily, but they're doing clinical work, and it is based on those mental health needs and the AODA needs that need to be supported. So we want to make sure the workers have that well-rounded background of being support from a supervisor in that clinical area to be able to help them with any areas of need that they might in the work they're doing with the consumers directly. And then going off to that, Sarah's going to kind of go into the focus of the areas for 2024.
Before we transition into 2024, I'll take a pause. We kind of dropped some bigger things to look forward to, but between what Ellen or I shared today, any thoughts or questions? Not looking, tons of processing for today, but if there's some immediate questions that might help, feel free to bring those up. Or if you have a connect meeting with me coming up, definitely bring it up in that meeting, or send us an email at the CCS Soups email too. But wanted to pause. Any thoughts, questions, comments? Yeah, whoever has their hand raised, feel free to unmute.
Yeah, hi, Sarah, this is Bill.
Hi, Bill.
A couple of questions, but I'll take those to the supervisory meetings. But one I had short-term would be with the clinical supervision. in addition to the meetings that y'all host. That means that I could find a clinical supervisor in addition, because I'm required certain number of hours. But they can be fulfilled through the meetings that we have through you guys, and the clinical supervision that I get from a different source would be in addition to that.
Yes, that's exactly it, Bill. And here's
Okay.
the reason. Yeah, here's the reason why we're asking for the clinical supervisor that each vendor obtains herself. Because if you have a weird ethical dilemma, or you have a weird, case practice or something going on, we want you to reach out to your direct clinical supervisor. It's not possible for the county to be the direct clinical supervisor for 93 vendor agencies and 1,055 providers. And so we want to make sure that you're getting the best support in the field of clinical supervision and mental health and substance use as you can. And we want to make sure that you have an identified licensed clinician to turn to in those situations. However, you may still count those complementary clinical supervision, those group ones that the county offers, the RIC CCS offers, as part of your clinical supervision hours. You just cannot count on the county to be your clinical supervisor. I know it's all semantics in a way, but we appreciate the understanding. Thank you. Can somebody put Bill's hand down? I have my phone. I'm working off of my phone because my internet's not working, so I don't know how to do it on my phone. Oh, there you go. Self-sufficient, Bill. You did it. Oh, you did it. All right. Any other thoughts or comments? All right. Program focus area in 2024. So some things, so to the present, so finally 2024, here we are. So some of the things that, yes, I believe Ryan will share on the vendor SharePoint site. And if you need a copy emailed to you, I suppose perhaps just send an email to ccsoups@lacrossecounty.org and we can email it to you, but we would prefer if you can grab it off the SharePoint site, less emails. So coordination committee, so part of the statute requirements for a CCS program is that we host and facilitate a coordination committee. And so we have the RIC CCS coordination committee. And the purpose of this coordination committee is to ensure that we're getting the voices and insight and information from all of the people who receive and participate in the CCS program, and most specifically the lived experience, voice, and opinion of the CCS program. So I chair the coordination committee. We meet bi-monthly, and we are looking for more persons who have lived experiences with mental health, with the CCS program, with substance use. It can be a caregiver of somebody, or it can be a CCS consumer. And so the idea of the committee is really to, one, be an outside perspective to the RIC CCS program. So we bring our updated policies there. We're bringing some new initiatives. Like I talked about the RIC CCS coordination committee. We're looking at doing an ethics and boundaries standards for our providers. So for those of you who are social workers like I am, there's a social worker ethics document that we work off of. So looking at something like that for our RIC CCS providers, no matter what your credential is, kind of creating a set of standards that we can hold our RIC CCS providers to as it relates to ethics and boundaries. So that's currently what our committee is working on and dedicated to finalizing and then sharing with everybody. So just to give you a little taste of what we're working on and hoping to share. So really looking for some more voices, especially lived experiences. So if you could share that information or reach out to me. I have a nice email flyer that I kind of created. So if you'd like to share with anybody, I can send that your way and you can feel free to forward that on. But appreciate your time. And then the second thing I wanted to follow up with is I just wanted to give a shout out to all of the CCS vendors who have been meeting with me, Christy, Chris Sanders, and Annalise Trinka in the Vendor Connect meetings. So in the last several months, we have been working extremely hard to meet with every single contracted vendor in our RIC consortium, and for at least a half hour on a regular and routine basis. And I believe Annalise has been helping me with that, but I believe that we are probably at 90% of our vendor network. Either we've got something scheduled or we're going to be reaching out to you real soon here. Our goal was to have 100% scheduled by the end of March. So, but anyways, wanted to say thank you for the time that you have given us, the space you give us in those meetings to just create a connection with you, a relationship, talk about what's going well, maybe what's not going well, even giving you an opportunity to kind of vent about all the burdens that CCS requires, and then maybe doing a little problem solving on how we can help you out. But these Connect meetings have been super helpful to myself. I know to Christy, to Chris Sanders and Annalise, because it's really given us a lot of feedback on how we can clean up our infrastructure and our internal processes so that we can better serve you, so that you can better serve the consumer. So just wanted to say thank you, and just really grateful and appreciative of your time and the partnership you've given to the RIC CCS consortium. So thank you. And if I haven't connected with you yet, I'm coming for you. So don't worry. Thanks. Oh, thanks, Bailey. Ryan, Ryan's going to keep taking it off. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, yeah. Another thing that we're looking, I don't know if it's looking forward to in 24, but we're anticipating is our state program audit. So this typically comes up April, May-ish. We haven't heard from state yet, but at some point we're going to get a visit and get a nice lengthy program audit. Those often result in lessons learned and practice shifts. So we're not sure what exactly that will be yet, but we anticipate we'll have more for you at the next vendor conference. I'm kind of one of our leads that attends a lot of our state meetings. So I know putting some like temperature gauges out into across the state with other consortiums and counties, kind of some of the themes that we're hearing are around the auditors are paying a lot of attention to provider credentials. So do we have all your documents, like your background checks and your training logs, and have they all been turned in on time? And do you have the right amount of training? Do you have a clinical supervisor? Things of that nature. So I know one of the practice shifts we started this year was that we are holding up new staff until you get a email notification from RIC saying, hey, we got all your stuff. Your person is ready to go. Before it was kind of like, hey, we kind of started, but we got half the stuff in. Just to kind of help protect everybody, we are doing a please don't start billing until you get a notice from RIC, the RIC consortium saying, hey, your new person, Sally Smith, is ready to go as of this date. We've gotten everything. Everything's good. So Annalise Trinka is going to be our lead on that. So it'll 98% of the time come from her, that email saying, yep, new staff is all ready to go. So that is one thing that we know is an area of focus. Clinical supervision logs, I've heard, is an area of focus as well. So again, if you are not a fully licensed therapist, for every 30 hours of service, there's 1 hour of supervision from a licensed clinician. And that is providing oversight and can attest to your ability to provide quality clinical services to the folks that you're serving. So I know one of the trends we're noticing as supervision logs are coming in is that, well, there's two things. One of the asks that we're going to have is that we get signatures of your clinical supervisor when those logs are coming in to just say, yep, I attest that I was the person that met with this person and went over their work and the quality of their work. I think the caveat to that will be if you go to one of the RIC facilitated groups, our MHPs this year are facilitating those. They are keeping a master list and signing off. On our side, your responsibility will still be to record on that supervision log. Hey, I went to a meeting with Kelly Ingenthron or Nanette Harder on this date, so we can attach it to the right signature page on our side. So that is one thing. The other thing that has come up is with that clinical supervision is if you are using a client team meeting structure, making sure that if you are claiming the therapist, that they know that you're claiming them as a clinical supervisor, because there are some ethical concerns that come with that. If you say, hey, like so-and-so from Brave Spaces is my clinical supervisor, I went to a team meeting with them, and something comes up, their license could be at risk for any kind of behaviors or services you're providing. So if you are doing that in a team meeting structure, make sure you're consulting with the therapist that is part of that or the mental health professional that is part of that. So just to make sure that they are okay with you doing that. I'm gonna jump, Ellen, just to my next one because kind of aligns with DQA. The other one with our state audit is the appropriateness for CCS. This was a theme that was talked about at our last state meeting of like the continuum of care and where should we look at discharge? Where do we look at moving up? One of the themes is that the CCS program requires more services than traditional psychotherapy. So that was a conversation that came up in state a few different times where, CCS says, hey, we need more than psychotherapy and outpatient level services. And on our Medicaid functional screen, there's actually a question that says, these services equate to about 3 or more hours per week of additional services as part of the eligibility for CCS. So with that, if you are a provider that does psychotherapy, I know Sarah's been having conversations of it's really helpful if you are Medicaid approved or able to continue with consumers after CCS. Because if our service plans are just saying, hey, they're in CCS, they have therapy, that's going to be an audit question of like, hey, well, are they appropriate for CCS then? Because they can get psychotherapy outside of CCS and they can bill Medicaid or private insurance directly. So again, those conversations might be coming up more as you're teaming and talking about future case planning. So yeah, next vendor conference, we'll probably have more information because I anticipate typically state comes and visits us end of April, early May. So we'll probably have more information next time we meet. So after GQA and our state audit, Ellen, you want to tell them about our next project?
Yeah, just also coming up, we have the RFPs coming up for the ISDE, and wellness, med management, psychoeducation. So thinking those are coming up, and with that, contracts will be revised to align with those new clinical guidance that we've kind of just talked about earlier. More definitions between the expectations of what those various service arrays will also be additionally added. So we'll kind of hone in on them a little bit more particular towards what those look like to kind of help guide that as we go through that process. So there will be more to come on that. And I think Ryan's going to maybe share one that's kind of going to be paused a little bit. So
yeah, jump back to me. So our last project, I know last time we met, we talked about vendor SharePoint and our hope for that moving forward. So vendor SharePoint continues to be up and running. We've been having some technical difficulties with it though. So some of you I know we've been in communication about access issues. I know La Crosse IT has been trying to coordinate with Microsoft. It seems like there's something happening that's impacting lots of entities, not just La Crosse County SharePoint site. But so with that, we're hopeful to start the project where providers could upload information and communicate through SharePoint this year. That might go on hold until we can make sure people can actually get into SharePoint. 'Cause it doesn't make sense to implement a new process if we can't use it correctly. So we're going to pause on that for a bit. We have figured out a way to get new persons onto SharePoint. I think there's about 15 to 20 folks right now who used to have access. Microsoft did an update and now you can't get in. So we're trying to figure that out right now. But if you do not have access to SharePoint, and how you would know that is if you did not directly receive an email from me last Friday saying, hey, this meeting's coming up, means you're not on the SharePoint network, because that's where our email blasts come from. We have a central spot for training documents, and a copy of the recording of this video will be, and other handouts and resources. So if you need access to that, emailing the CCS Soups inbox with your name, your agency, kind of what role and function you serve at your agency, we can get you set up. So yeah, I think we've worked out all the technical bugs on getting new users set up, so we can get you added there. So I think that's the last of our updates for 2024 and the last of the updates for RIC CCS at this point. But yeah, just calling out the chat information of the RFPs. Yes, I can put the email address in again. But the RFPs we'll talk about more next meeting as well. I guess just kind of bridge on what Ellen was saying. I know there's a lot of conversation amongst providers that do skills and wellness. Like, what's the difference between the two? Like, that's one of the areas that we're hoping to like clean up a little bit more. Like, if you're doing skills here, you should know this is what skills means. This is what wellness means. How does that distinguish from psychoeducation? And just being a little more clear with some of that language and expectations for those different services. But yeah, more of that next meeting as well.
Any final CCS questions? Never a shortage of information. So the next meeting is July 9th at 10 a.m. and you should get the agenda for that, hopefully late June, since we'll have a holiday around there, so we can get it on your calendars. But you can put a spot on there now, July 9th from 10 to noon, and we'll get out the specific agenda at that time. Again, we'll be talking about the RFPs for CCS. Those will be probably September when we release those. So it's not going to happen right away, but August, September, I'm going to say September probably. So any final questions? All right. Everybody have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.